Annuncio vobis
I announce
gaudium
to you
magnum.
a great joy.
Habemus papam.
We have a pope.
Eminentissimum.
The most eminent
Ac reverendissimum
and a
Dominum.
reverend
Dominum Robertum Franciscum.
Robert
Sancte Romane
Francis,
Ecclesiae.
Cardinal of the Holy
Cardinale
Roman.
The first
Prevost,
American Pope has been elected, Cardinal Prevost.
Qui sibi nomen imposuit.
Who has chosen the
Leonem
name?
Decimum
Well,
Quartum.
Cardinal Prevost, the
Leo
first
XIV.
American Pope in history, Chicago-born, has been elected as the 267th successor of St. Peter. Cardinal Prevost was the leader of the Vatican's office for the dicastery of bishops, the Vatican's dicastery for bishops. He is someone who spent many years as bishop in Peru, as a missionary in Peru. He was Bishop of Chiclayo in Peru. He was the leader of the Augustinian order, which is a worldwide religious order. He is known as an experienced and wise leader who can bring together people from different points of view. I can see there Cardinal Cupich from Chicago, who looks quite happy with the news. This is really an extraordinary moment.
This is an extraordinary moment, and of course, I sit here as an American. Whatever it would have been, I think you can't be but moved to tears. But this is stunning.
Leo the 14th.
Leo the 14th.
Now that's
is his
significant.
name.
Pope Leo the 13th, a pope of Catholic social teaching, of Catholic social doctrine, a pope who stood up for workers, a pope on the side of the poor. And Cardinal Prevost, Pope Leo the 14th, I should say, has chosen that name. That is a big statement. That is really an extraordinary moment. We all thought, people were thinking it was going to be an Italian.
Yes.
They thought they were the front runner. But as we said, as I reported, an American was not ruled out. They were looking at America.
And you were saying this was possible. It was only today, when it moved as fast as it moved, that everyone said, well, it must be an Italian. But let's just say this again. Cardinal Robert Prevost, now Pope Leo the 14th, is an American, currently Cardinal from Chicago, and is now the first American Pope in history. Let's watch Leo the 14th coming out. Let's watch.
La pace sia con tutti voi.
Peace be with you all.
Fratelli, sorelle carissimi,
Dearest brothers and sisters,
questo è il primo saluto del Cristo risorto,
this is the first
il buon
greetings
pastore
of the
che ha dato
resurrected
la
Christ,
vita per il gregge di Dio.
the good shepherd who has given
Anch'io
up his
vorrei
life
che questo
for God.
saluto di
And I
pace
should also like
entrasse
this
nel
greeting
vostro
of
cuore,
peace
raggiungesse
to enter
le
our
vostre
hearts
famiglie,
and
a
your
tutte le
families
persone,
and to all
ovunque
those
siano,
people, wherever they
a
are,
tutti i popoli, a tutta
all
la terra.
peoples throughout the
La pace
world.
sia con voi.
Peace be with you.
Questa è la pace di Cristo risorto.
This is the
Una
peace of the
pace
resurrected Christ,
disarmata, una pace disarmante, umile
a
e perseverante.
humble and perseverant
Proviene da Dio.
peace
Dio che
which
ci
comes from
ama
God,
tutti,
God who loves us all
incondizionalmente.
unconditionally.
Ancora conserviamo nei nostri orecchi
Let
quella
us
voce debole,
keep
ma
in our
sempre
ears
coraggiosa di
the
Papa Francesco,
weak voice
che benediva
of
Roma.
Pope Francis that blesses Rome.
Il Papa che benediva Roma,
The
dava la
Pope
sua
who
benedizione al
blessed
mondo,
Rome
al mondo
gave his
intero,
blessing to the world, to the entire world,
di Pasqua.
that morning of Easter.
Consentitemi di dar seguito a quella
Allow
stessa
me
benedizione.
to follow up
Dio
on
ci
that
vuole
blessing.
bene. Dio
God
ci ama
loves
tutti.
us. God loves
E il male
everyone.
non prevarrà.
Evil
Siamo
will not
tutti
prevail.
nelle mani di Dio.
We are all in the hands of God.
Pertanto, senza paura,
Therefore, without
uniti,
fear,
mano nella mano
united,
con Dio
hand
e
in
tra
hand
noi,
with God and
andiamo
amongst
avanti.
ourselves, let us go forward.
Siamo discepoli di Cristo.
We are the disciples of
Cristo
Christ.
ci precede.
Christ goes
Il
before
mondo
us.
ha bisogno della sua
The world
luce.
needs his light.
L'umanità necessita di lui come
Humanity
ponte
needs him
per essere raggiunta da Dio
like
e
the
dal
bridge
suo amore.
to God and his love.
Aiutateci anche voi, poi gli uni gli altri, a
Help us
costruire i ponti
and
con
all
il dialogo,
others
con
to
l'incontro,
build bridges with
unendoci tutti
dialogue,
per essere un
with
solo
meeting,
popolo,
to be
sempre
one
in pace.
common people,
Grazie a
living
Papa
always in peace.
Francesco.
Thank you to Pope Francis.
Voglio ringraziare anche tutti
I should also like to
i
thank
confratelli cardinali
all
che
my
hanno scelto me
cardinal brethren
per essere
who have chosen
successore
me
di Pietro,
to be the
di
successor
camminare
of Peter
insieme a voi
and
come
to
Chiesa unita,
walk with you
cercando
as a
sempre
united
la pace,
church,
la giustizia,
always seeking
cercando
peace
sempre
and justice,
lavorare come
seeking
uomini
to
e
work
donne.
Министр обороны приветствовал парадные расчеты кремлевских курсантов, военной полиции, Росгвардии и МЧС России, воинов-железнодорожников, российского казачества.
Здравствуйте, товарищи! Поздравляю вас с 80-й годовщиной победы в Великой Отечественной войне!
Минобороны поздравил с Днем Победы парадные расчеты ракетных войск стратегического назначения, радиационной, химической и биологической защиты, воздушно-десантных и инженерных войск.
Здравствуйте, товарищи! Поздравляю вас с 80-й годовщиной победы в Великой Отечественной войне!
Специальной военной операции военно-морского флота, ФСБ России, военнослужащих женщин, парадные расчеты иностранных государств и самых юных участников парада – суворовцев, нахимовцев, воспитанников кадетского морского корпуса и юнармии. Министр обороны Андрей Белоусов совершил объезд войск и направляется к центральной трибуне для доклада президенту Российской Федерации, Верховному главнокомандующему вооруженными силами Российской Федерации Владимиру Владимировичу Путину.